Isaiah 43:19 says, "Behold, I will do a new thing. Now it shall spring forth. Shall you not know it? I will even make a road in the wilderness and rivers in the desert." Entering into a new year brings a little bit of anxiety to me, but also lots and lots of excitement. I don't know about you, and it might be cliche of me to do this, but I like to make a list of goals that I like to accomplish before the new year begins. And I know that many of us who do make a list of goals, sometimes we don't get to accomplish half of the things that we put in our list, or sometimes we even forget about the list as a whole. But this year, I want to challenge you to write a list of goals for 2018 and really stick to them and dream big. We have a great God who's looking out for us, who knows the desires of our hearts. And even though things or goals might seem crazy to us or crazy to other people, we have an amazing God that can do crazy and amazing things. So today I want to talk to you guys about the time God led the Israelites out of Egypt. And you might be thinking, Itzel, what does this have to do with the new year? I'm about to tell you. When God was preparing the Israelites to leave in Egypt, he had prepared a new beginning for them. Now, when the Israelites were finally able to leave Egypt, they ran into some crazy obstacles. They not only had the Egyptian army chasing after them, but they were standing in front of the Red Sea. Now, they couldn't run anywhere else because the Egyptians were surrounding them. So they couldn't run anywhere. Otherwise, if they went back, the Egyptians would have killed them. And if they ran forward, they would have drowned in the Red Sea. So here the Israelites are stuck between the Egyptian army and the Red Sea. At this point, the Israelites started to regret leaving Egypt. They even started to regret listening to Moses. They started to doubt in the God that had been watching over them for all these years. I'm pretty sure that there were a lot of Israelites that were very excited and happy to finally leave Egypt. They probably made a list of goals that they wanted to do in this new home that God was taking them to. They probably were already making plans of the new things that they were going to do, the new places that they were going to explore, and the new lives that they were going to have. But when they get to the Red Sea, their mindset starts to change. At this point, they can't turn back because the Egyptians are chasing after them. But they can't keep going forward because they have a sea in front of them, that if they keep going, they will drown. So they start regretting leaving Egypt. They even tell Moses that he should have just left them in Egypt to die. But Moses says to them, "Do not be afraid, stand still and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will accomplish for you today." So Moses tells them, "You guys, calm down. You're about to experience the salvation of the Lord. You're about to experience a miracle from God." And that's when God commands Moses to lift up his rod, and God splits open the Red Sea. So they're able to cross the Red Sea without the Egyptians reaching them. He makes a path for them in the impossible. He does something crazy for them, something that they couldn't even imagine. Now, this new year, I know that some of us make a list of goals that we want to accomplish. But sometimes when we're a couple of months into the new year, we start doubting, is this too big of a dream for me? If you want to be a CEO of a company, maybe you want to be a coach, maybe you want to go back to college, whatever it is that you want to do, when you finally get to do it and you find yourself in that place, you might run into obstacles just like the Israelites did. You might find yourself between the Egyptians and the Red Sea with nowhere else to go, with nowhere else to run to. And you might start doubting God. You might start saying, "God, I made this list, but it feels like you've abandoned me." You might feel like you're stuck, but that's okay. Because when we're stuck, when we're in between the Egyptians and the Red Sea, that's when God comes and glorifies himself. That's when God comes and opens up a new path. That's when he comes and makes a big miracle in our life and opens up new doors that we couldn't even imagine could be opened. I'm sure that the Israelites never thought they'd walk through the Red Sea. Now, in this new year, I want to challenge you guys to dream big. Dream big, even if people laugh, even if you feel discouraged at some point. Keep going and remember that God is always with us. God is going to be with you. And at that moment where you feel like you can't go on, that you can't keep walking, that you're in between and you're stuck in between the Egyptians chasing you and the Red Sea in front of you, that's when God is going to come through and make a big miracle in your life. Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future." God knows the desires in our heart, and He doesn't put them there just to make fun of us, just to see us fail. God puts desires in our hearts that seem impossible to accomplish because He knows how great He is. He knows that whatever He puts in our heart, He can make it happen. But all we have to do is trust in Him. We have to trust in Jesus. Just like when Jesus came to this world, He knew that He had a great and amazing God. He knew that whatever God planned for Him was a perfect plan. And we have to be like Jesus. We have to trust that whatever the things that are in our hearts, the desires of our hearts, are things that God puts in our hearts for a reason. Not to see us fail, but so God can glorify Himself in our lives. So God can make a testimony out of us. So I want to encourage you guys, for this new year, make a list of things that you might think are impossible to accomplish. Make a list of things and write the desires of your heart in a piece of paper or in your mind, in your phone, whatever you write your notes in. Write them and keep them in prayer, because if God put them in your heart, He put them there for a reason. Dream big this year, bigger than you have ever dreamed before. Dream big and remember that we have a great and amazing God by our side that will split the Red Sea for us.